NewsHour at 10, debate number 2, on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us this evening on debate number 2 is India's growth story intact, anecdotal data, real situation on ground versus statistics and tax collections of the government. What stands where? Let's ask our panelists this evening. Good evening, Zafar Islam, M.R. Venkatesh, Rajiv Kumar. Also we have Rajiv Desai, Kumar Danish Ali and Prasenjit Bose. But first I'm going to go across to Rajiv Kumar, Senior Fellow, Center for Policy Research and Founder Director, Pehle India. Rajiv Kumar. What's more important for the Aam Aadmi, the taxes the government has collected or the jobs on ground? When I talk about jobs, have we lost more jobs in the last 50 days or have we created more jobs?
Well, that's a straightforward answer, which is that it's of course the jobs which are more important. And also the answer to your second question is also straightforward, which is that I can't imagine that we have created more jobs in the last 50 days. And that was not expected either. When you have a currency withdrawal from the economy at the level that you've done, it is but inevitable that you would have some reduction in demand and therefore some loss in jobs both in the informal sector, construction sector. I'm afraid.
No, it is. Rajiv Kumar, I'm sorry to interject here, but no, it's a very important question to ask, and I'll tell you why.
I'm afraid not. No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. It is not the right question.
The question,
it is not the right question
whether it is expected or not.
You have to ask
Rajiv Kumar, the question is whether it is good for people. Is it something that is going to help the common man, the Aam Aadmi?
No. Look, 50 days is not a period to judge any scheme or any measure, policy measure for its outcomes. That's just not the right thing to do.
What do you tell the man who's lost his job for the last 50 days?
Even that he will get the job back in the very recent future, and that this job will come to him with greater sustainability and the promise to have it in a cleaner economic environment. That is what you have to tell the person concerned. And this is what the people are actually saying by voting by their feet. The person that I met, an ordinary barber, said to me, "Sir, my business is down 50%, but on some occasions you have to take a few steps backwards to take a leap forward." And you know that the common man, the common person who has borne all the difficulties and the pain of this measure, which was a necessary measure, has voted with his or her feet to support the measure.
No, but Rajiv Kumar,
the bleeding heart going on and on about
Rajiv Kumar,
the loss of jobs in these 50 days.
Rajiv Kumar, see, I'm quoting the IMO report. The IMO report on Jan 9th. Okay, the IMO report very clearly, that is the All India Manufacturers Organization. They say that there are an estimate 35% job losses in the micro small scale industry. Now, and their outlook till March 2017 is that it could go up to 60%. So it is not in the near future that these jobs are coming back. And I'm asking you, and I'm saying this because, sir, it's a concern, because the Prime Minister's commitment was that 1 crore jobs. The vision is to create 30 crore jobs by 2022. So with this exercise, which is over the last, it's not 50 days, have we set by ourselves back at least by about 2 quarters? That's the concern, sir.
You know, I read the report as well, the IMO report. I don't know what this organization is. I don't know what their survey methodology is. And I cannot believe that there has been a 35% loss in employment. I mean, you know, our size of the workforce is about more than 450 million. To say that 150 million people have lost their jobs, that's 30%, and yet there is not one sign of any stir or unrest in this country, is just mind-boggling. And so, please remember that the Prime Minister has said that that he will create the jobs, 200 million jobs, not 300 million, by 2022. Yes, that is his target. That must be his target. Creating jobs is the highest and should be the only priority for this government. Now, what the question that you need
now,
to
Rajiv
ask
Kumar, you're questioning IMO.
Rajiv
Kumar, 1 second. You're questioning IMO. I'd like to talk about the dip in projected GDP also. We'll be dwelling on this in a little more detail later on the show. But you know, are you going to question CRISIL? Are you going to question ICRA and CARE? Are you going to question Fitch? Because the Fitch rating agency has cut its forecast for India's GDP down to 6.9%. So, you know, instead of just questioning these agencies or the organizations which are putting out numbers, perhaps we should be looking at the actual realities that they are putting out. And we'd like to get MR Venkatesh in on this also. Just give me a second. Anand was talking about those figures from IMO in the first 34 days where the micro small scale industries suffered 35% job losses. But there's more. The manufacturing sector, remember this was supposed to be one of the key focuses of the Modi government. The manufacturing sector, medium and large scale industries reported job losses of 5%, took a revenue hit of 20%. We are talking about medium and large scale industries engaged in infrastructure projects, specifically export oriented activities. They have reported 35% and 30% job cuts in the first 34 days since demonetization. MR Venkatesh, isn't this reason to be worried? People are losing their jobs.
Absolutely. If this is the fact on the ground, I'm sure as a politician I would definitely be worried and I would be having a sleepless night. But the fact of the matter is this needs to be corroborated with one figure, that the excise duty collection has gone up by 45%, and that's also a fact. And how do you account for that? That production has gone up, and because production has gone up, excise duty collections have gone up. Please understand this 45% jump. I have been following budget since 1996, and I can tell you with some authority that nowhere has a 45% jump in excise duty ever been recorded. All the other data that you are showing is anecdotal, opinion, surveys, whereas 45% is hard fact. 45% jump in excise. Tell me 1 year, not even in 2008, when your manufacturing was growing at 14%, that you have demonstrated a 45% jump in excise collections. So to me, yes, there will be pockets where there have been, job losses, there have been even probably layoffs, there have been shutdowns, yes. But on the whole, the country is not in such a pathetic state as what people are trying to project, especially this.
No, nobody is saying, MR Venkatesh, that the country is in a pathetic state. You know, the argument that we were trying to keep is that it's the government's responsibility, MR. It's the government's responsibility, MR, that as they highlight the positives, they can't just brush away the negatives. They have to be upfront and say these are the sectors which have been hit badly. This is under consideration. But so far that doesn't seem to have come across is also a concern. So we are highlighting some of the possibilities. Yes, MR, before I bring in Prasenjit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I would agree that the government should not brush aside such anecdotal references by simply saying they are anecdotal. They must send North Block teams into all those places and get back the feedback, because perhaps of all the panelists here, being a chartered accountant, I have the pulse on the industry on a day-to-day basis, and I know what the industries are talking about. A fortnight back, we had the Minister of State, Mr. Ram Meghwal in Chennai on a Laghu Udyog Bharati. We had made some presentation on behalf of the Laghu Udyog Bharati, and on 31st December I can make it bold to state today that all the suggestions made, some of them were finding resonance in the speech of the Prime Minister, especially for the small and medium enterprises. So to say that the government is also not hearing is also not true.
No, I agree. See, there is no argument, there is no, MR please, we have never said the government is not receptive, that the government is not proactive. We are also, like we have put out, the government has cracked down on corruption. They have also responded to good suggestions. But my point, sir, is that the government has to put out what the real hard numbers are, even if they are a little painful, because people need to know where we are and how much we've been hurt. And they should not dress up those numbers. Prasenjit, do you concur with MR and what Rajiv Kumar said earlier? Do you have a different point of view? Let's bring in the debate, let's expand the debate, and let's bring in those who also are raising concerns. Yes, Prasenjit.
You see, first of all, after withdrawing 86% of the country's current stock of currency, if one claims after such a huge liquidity shock has been delivered that there is no impact on the real economy, I think that those people they live on the moon. They don't dwell on this earth, basically. And they have no idea about how the economy functions, how the real economy functions, and what is the role that cash plays in the real economy. Having said so, I think that the main point is what the finance minister has claimed. Now what I would like you to note is that the finance minister is providing figures from April till December. So he is not providing, I mean, I am not even going into whether his figures are correct or incorrect, etc. The point is that the demonetization happened on November 8th. Now the finance minister is not saying...
No, just one second. Just one second. Prasanjit, I just need to add to what you're saying, because there are numbers for after. There are numbers for after demonetization being implemented. I'm telling you that. According to the preliminary data for December 2016, the total indirect tax collection rose to 14.2% compared to the same period in 2015. This is also something that has been put out, and this is data from post-demonetization. Now you continue with the point you were making.
Well, I would say that these numbers are very strange. I mean, as an economist, I can say that these numbers are very strange, because if it is a fact that the monthly data actually shows that post demonetization revenue collections have gone up, then there must be something happening. I mean, maybe there is some problem with the estimation of
Prasanjit, Rajiv Kumar wants to counter you.
Wait. First of all, the Reserve Bank of India has not...
Yes, Rajiv Kumar, short intervention.
What is happening is very feasible statistically, because some of the informal sector that perhaps had not been picked up by the national accounts or by the revenues, etc., has now got into the statistical system because they've come into the tax net because of the demonetization effect. So the two situations, the two trends of a actual loss in jobs in some sectors with a rise in excise collections, etc., are both compatible. So one should not be so shocked at that. What we need to recognize is, yes, there have been some sectors in which, of course, there have been employment losses, but there are other sectors where the employment loss has been quickly made up, and there are others where the basis now has been laid for a much better accounting and also job generation by going forward, because the formal and the informal, that distinction has now been made, but has now sort of really been blurred, and therefore you will get a much better basis for getting jobs, because the inflation rates have fallen.
Rajiv Kumar, the fact of the matter is that the reality of the moment is that the jobs have in fact been lost, and we're putting out data. Yes, Prasanjit, you want to come in on that, but the point is, you're saying that these jobs will come back. The fact though is that for the person on the ground, the reality is that these jobs are being lost. Prasanjit, and then we bring in the other panelists also.
No, you see, first of all, I think that anybody who has any idea about what the ground situation is as far as the economy is concerned, as far as agriculture is concerned, migrant labor, all sectors of the economy, from real estate, construction to retail trade, every sector, to automobiles, to even the higher segments of the high-tech segments of the organized sector, everybody has reported slowdown in sales, slowdown in investments, and so on. So if there is only one way by which you can show that the GDP is not falling, that is by fudging the numbers. I hope the government is not doing that. But having said so, I think that the government actually is being economical and non-transparent in not being forthcoming and it should share the data. We don't know, for instance, even after the passage of so many days, after the December 30 deadline is over, how much currency actually has come back to the system. We don't know.
Okay, but Prasanjit, the fact is you're accusing the government of actually fudging the data. But figures like tax collection, they are absolute values. They are absolute figures, and you're making a serious allegation there saying that the government is fudging these figures.
Coming out. No. You see, the government is only coming out with that data which is convenient for it. That is not the way. The government is supposed to come up with
no fine. We're also saying that the government must talk about these job losses. We're also saying that the government must in fact answer these questions. Answer the question about high tax collections though. I'll go to Rajiv Desai with that. Let me go to Rajiv Desai with that. Rajiv Desai, high tax collection, is it not a sign of a positive impact?
Yeah. No, because I don't believe those figures. Frankly, I don't believe those figures any more than because they have no assessment at all of the impact of this demonetization. When the CSO reduced the GDP growth rate from 7.6 to 7.1, here is what Mr. Anand, who is the chief statistician, said. He says these estimates do not factor in the note ban.
Yes.
The impact is yet to be understood and could last for several years. This is the chief statistician of the government of India. The Center for Monitoring Indian Economy estimates a loss of 1.28 lakh crore rupees from November 8 to December 30.
Well, this is what Rajiv Desai, the point is,
the same center also said that new investment proposals have fallen by about 50% since November 8.
Yes,
now, where are these jobs coming from? I'll tell you what.
Yes.
It's a very simple thing. Those of us who understand economics, who understand politics and are at the corner of it, it is very clear that the government is trying to spin its way out of trouble. They are creating a narrative. One guy is saying that we are fighting corruption. Somebody is saying, oh, our tax collections has increased, so there's been no impact of demonetization.
You said
is just
the point is
not true.
Point is
when you knock out 87% of the currency, you are going to have an impact.
Yes,
and you
Rajiv Desai, nobody is saying that there will not be an impact. Rajiv Desai, you read what the
300,000 micro, small, medium and large industries.
Right.
So it's
Rajiv Desai, nobody is saying. Rajiv Desai, nobody is saying.
And I'll tell you the truth.
Can you hear me, Rajiv Desai?
These tax figures
allow me this intervention, please. I'm just saying, Rajiv Desai, nobody is saying that there will not be an impact. There will not be an impact. What you're saying, you read out what the CSO had to say, and their concerns that they have read said that this could last. They said could last for several years. This could last only for a few months too. It depends upon the policies of the government and what it does to get this economy back up on its feet. Allow me to read this, please. Allow me to just read this. This is what the former governor of the RBI,
eminent economist,
Mr. Subbarao,
far more eminent.
I am reading the former RBI governor, sir. In his long essay, this is what he has said, and I'm just quoting a passage which is titled "The Macroeconomic Impact." And I'm reading this of what Mr. Subbarao has said. He has said in the very short term, please,
but the fact of the
hear me out, Rajiv Desai. Hear this out, please, for the benefit of our viewers and our panelists. This is what he has said. In the very short term, delegalization, what he's called it, remonetization, may hurt growth. Rajiv Desai, please. Delegalization may hurt growth. The squeeze in cash will constrain.
Use all the words you want.
I'm quoting him, sir. I'm quoting him. I'm quoting him. Not my. It's not my. I am not the former RBI governor. It is Mr. Subbarao, and I'm quoting him from his essay, from his passage, from his article. Allow me to quote it properly. Allow me to quote it properly, Rajiv Desai.
After they've done this.
Rajiv Desai, allow me to quote it properly. Now, this is what he's written. In the very short term, delegalization may hurt growth. The squeeze in cash will constrain consumption. Then he says, arguably, delegalization will also be disinflationary in as much as it cuts into non-discretionary consumption of items that go into the consumer price index basket. The faster and more effectively the government and the RBI are able to handle the transition, the less will be the adverse impact. What is important, however, is the medium to long-term macroeconomic implications, which are decidedly positive. As delegalized currency is deposited in banks and the new currency comes into circulation, some very positive dynamics will kick in. By far the most important outcome will be that as the shadowy economy merges with the former economy, it will spur economic activity into the virtuous cycle. So medium to long-term impact will be positive as maintained by the government. But Zafar Islam, as I bring you in, and Rajiv Desai, allow the other panelists to speak. You might want to shout over me, but allow the other panelists to voice. Zafar Islam, is the government not putting out all the facts and figures and is only highlighting the positive?
I'm sorry.
That's the question. Rajiv Desai, let Zafar Islam answer this.
that will
Rajiv
not-
Desai,
and don't
let
think-
Zafar
Can I
Islam
just
answer.
respond?
Don't-
Can I just
don't
respond?
think-
Yes, Zafar.
Don't think that people
Yes,
will
Zafar.
buy into this
Rajiv
narrative,
Desai.
because
Mr. Rajiv Desai, can I speak, please?
Forum, please.
people have lost.
Can you just stop, allow other panelists to speak, please?
Yeah.
You don't let me talk. So
Yeah.
why do you call me?
Well,
you don't let me talk.
You spoke your
let
mind.
Rajiv Kumar
You
talk.
spoke your
let
mind.
this
I
guy
quoted
talk.
Mr.
Let me
Subbarao,
just
and I'm going
respond,
across to
Mr.
another
Rajiv
panelist.
Desai.
So let's not quibble over
But you
small
know,
issues.
but
This
you-
is the
but you
real debate.
interrupted
The real
me.
debate.
You
Let's focus
interrupted
on the
me on
debate,
this
Rajiv
thing.
Desai.
Anand,
Let
you've
Zafar
done it
Islam
again.
respond.
You
Let Kuwar
interrupted
Danish Ali
me.
speak.
I think
Yes, Zafar Islam.
I am focusing on the debate.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Zafar
I am
Islam.
also focusing on the
Thank you.
debate.
Thank you. Yes, Zafar Islam.
I think, Anand, some of the economists today is very unfortunate, is compromising with their own credentials. They are criticizing the government for the sake of criticizing. Please let them understand. And Manmohan Singh is no exception, because he, as an economist, he has a credential, but as a spokesperson of Congress, is speaking and is compromising with his own credential. He is also saying the 200 basis point contraction in GDP growth, which is far away from reality. You see that RBI is an independent institution.
You heard
they have projected.
at people who oppose.
Mr. Rajiv Desai, can you just allow me to speak, please?
You abuse them. And though
Can you just allow me to speak?
No.
Have a patience to hear other panelists' view as
Who
well.
the hell do you think you are?
Rajiv
No, no.
Desai.
No, no,
Rajiv
no.
Desai.
I'm not
Rajiv Desai,
abusing
please.
anyone.
Rajiv Desai.
No.
Rajiv Desai, allow me to
Mr.
answer.
Rajiv Desai, I do not agree with whatever sentence you have spoken. I do not agree with one sentence from whatever you have spoken. Because it's away from reality, it's just for the sake of
Zafar Islam, please continue
government
what
you have
you're
spoken
saying.
so far.
But yeah, one second, Zafar Islam. I just
All
want
I'm
to add to a
saying
point that
that
was made earlier by Rajiv Desai. Yeah, one second, Zafar Islam, you're talking about, you're sort of debunking these theories which are being put forth even by the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, who yourself, you said, is an economist of great repute. But the government estimates released also show a deceleration of the GDP, and Rajiv Desai was earlier talking about this, the growth projection by the Central Statistics Office, that also talks about a deceleration.
Let me just respond to that. This CSO has projected 7.1 from the targeted GDP growth of 7.6. So there is a contraction of 0.5% or 50 basis point. RBI, and they doesn't take into account the effect of demonetization. They have stated it. RBI on its part is independent agency. They have projected 7.1, including the impact of demonetization.
Yes,
Both are
but
independent
that's
agencies.
the worry. The
But
worry
RBI
is that
has
this
also
impact
stated-
does not account
No,
for the
then
impact of
let me-
demonetization. Zafar Islam, this
Let
is
me
in
just
fact not
complete.
incorporating that impact,
Let me
right?
just complete. Let me
Yeah.
just complete and allow me to complete. RBI has in a statement also made, RBI in report also made a statement saying that the impact of demonetization will be very little. That has also, when they have projected 7.1. But CSO can be very conservative. But away from that, these two independent government agencies, you take the consensus GDP number of 25 top economists of the country who have credentials, who are independent, working for an organization. You were talking about CRISIL, you were talking about ICRA, you were talking about other rating agencies. Take the consensus of all 25 strong organization and economists of repute. They have, if you take the consensus, it is slightly lower than 7 handle. So we are not saying that GDP growth there will not come off. GDP growth will come off for 2 quarters. But you must appreciate the government has taken this initiative for longer term benefits. For longer term benefits, if you have a dip in GDP for 2 quarters, so be it. Who is saying that there will be no dip in GDP? But if you also see the numbers, one of the panelists, Mr. Banerjee and Rajiv Desai, is even challenging the government's hard cash collection of its indirect and direct taxes. I mean, you as an economist, you project your estimate, you come up with your analysis, you give your estimate based on the numbers and statistics provided by the government. You are questioning the government's statistic itself. That's very unfortunate. Having said that, let me tell you
Yeah, the
that
straightforward allegation, Zafar Islam, straightforward allegation which came from two of our panelists is that the government is fudging numbers. No, Zafar Islam, so I want your response
Not
on
at
this.
all.
One panelist saying that the government is fudging numbers, not just saying that this is selective data, but this is actually fudged data. And then Rajiv Desai also going on to say, I don't believe these numbers. When we're talking about the tax collection, of course.
I think these two gentlemen must know this is a hard cash collection. Let me also remind them, these two gentlemen, because they were talking about, one of them was talking about the currency coming back. How does it matter, currency coming back? Will it benefit government? If some money doesn't come back to the system, will it benefit government? It will be a notional value in the balance sheet of RBI. Can they declare dividend out of this national value? Will it be a hard cash for the government to spend? Do you understand the economics when you are questioning it? Please understand, economics, it's a tax collection is the hard cash. Government finances will improve because of demonetization, because there will be higher tax collection. The government spending will be higher going forward. There will be monetary support, there will be fiscal support to ensure that there is a huge recovery, GDP growth.
Right. Zafar Islam, your counters noted.
Going forward.
Your counters, allow me to bring in Kuwar Danish Ali. Two things which the government says, medium, short term, 2 quarters will be tough.
Spouting nothing.
Rajiv Desai, yes, intervention. Rajiv Desai, Kuwar Danish Ali, Rajiv Desai is itching to intervene. Please allow him the intervention, otherwise he'll speak over you. Yes, Rajiv Desai, please, your intervention, and then we'll go to Kuwar Danish Ali.
I mean, look, I think a lot of people, I think there's been tremendous damage done to the economy. I think the sooner the government recognizes that, rather than sweep it under the carpet and dress it up in lipstick, the sooner the government recognizes that, the faster they will come to fix it. And you know, we all want it to be fixed because we're all Indians.
We understand, Mr. Rajiv Desai, your assumptions are all factually incorrect. You are speaking just for the sake of speaking.
Okay, Rajiv Desai, you've raised your concern. It's a valid concern and we share that concern, sir. Allow me to bring in Kuwar Danish Ali. He's been patiently waiting for his turn to speak on this debate. I'm going to request Zafar Islam and Rajiv Desai to please allow Kuwar Danish Ali to come in.
Because that is
Zafar Islam, please. Rajiv Desai, please. Kuwar Danish Ali allowed you the intervention. Allow him to speak, please.
Don't take people.
Allow Kuwar Danish Ali to speak.
You know.
Allow Kuwar Danish Ali to speak, Rajiv Desai. Please, he allowed you the intervention. He waited for you to make your point. You've raised your concern. Kuwar Danish Ali. Two things which stand out, sir. One, what M.R. Venkatesh said. If the situation was really bad, where is the outpouring out on the streets? Where are people calling out and saying, what is this government doing? That rebellion is not happening on the streets. People are still with the government. Things are functioning. India is functioning. People are moving. Yes, there have been a few job cuts that have happened. Those jobs will be made up is what they say. What is your real concern? Are you concerned the government is not putting out all the facts, or are you concerned that the government is not showing the real picture?
See, M.R. Venkatesh should thank the responsible opposition parties of this country, particularly the regional parties, who have not brought out the people on the streets. People are very sensible in this country, number one. Number two, the government and the ruling party should not be selective while releasing the data. See, just now the BJP spokesperson was quoting the RBI. RBI has also said that this demonetization may increase the NPAs. You are not quoting that. And I don't know if the government and the ruling party is in a fool's paradise, that nothing is happening in this country after demonetization. You announce the demonetization that to crack on the black money. Where is that black money? Everybody knows, the government knew it.
Okay, Kuwar Danish Ali, you know, because you bring up that point.
No.
Because you bring up that point, let me point out. One second, Emma, let me just respond on it. Yeah, one second. Kuwar Danish Ali.
Mr. Danish Ali, no, on black money.
No, Emma, I'm coming to you. Emma, I'm coming to you. Kuwar Danish Ali, you are talking about black money accountability. That is the one front on which there has been very, very significant movement. The fact is, let's give you some data here again. The Income Tax Department successfully managed to seize over 3,000 crore of undisclosed income, of which 86 crore worth of new notes has been seized. Why? Because there has been a drive to crack down on hoarders, to crack down on black money. The taxmen carried out a total of 677 searches in this period, or surveys and inquiry operations again under the provisions of the IT Act, and they've issued over 3,100 notices to entities, this on tax evasion charges and hawala operators. Action is taking place. When you question the black money issue, there is action taking place on the ground. You can't question that.
Mr. Danishali, I will add one more thing.
You have gone against only the 5%.
Okay, one sec, Danish.
You have left the 95%.
Just add to that point. And then you have left 95% black money order. Let M.R. Venkatesh also add to what I've asked you, and then you respond. M.R. Venkatesh, please.
Madam, you must understand, black money is never held by businessmen or other people. It is held in cash, predominantly by politicians, and that is why, because the politicians have a huge requirement for cash. It is their stock in trade, that they trade for votes, they trade for bribery, they trade for various other things. So it was basically a first war against corruption by the highest in the country, and Mr. Danish Ali and his cohorts are the people who have been severely impacted by this demonetization effect. So that is why the country's people have stood by the Prime Minister. They know that they have to undergo this pain, but they know that they have undergone this pain for the last 65 years. So be it for another 6 months.
The Prime Minister of this country, can the Bharatiya Janata Party give the accounts of the money spent by the BJP in Lucknow Rally of the Prime Minister?
Sir.
Don't teach. Don't
you go and talk all this nonsense. Don't talk all this nonsense here. Don't talk all this nonsense, Danish Ali. You will be defeated in your election. Prime Minister is winning election after election.
If you are true to the
you are losing. Don't go.
M.R. Venkatesh and Kuwar Danish Ali, please have a debate. Please have a debate on the Notbandi post-mortem. M.R. Venkatesh and Kuwar Danish Ali, let's keep the political fight to the Notbandi post-mortem.
You can make the sweeping remarks.
No, see, one of the critical aspects.
I was asked to make a comment on it.
Yes, M.R. Venkatesh, Kuwar Danish Ali. Kuwar Danish Ali. See, Kuwar Danish Ali.
Election after election, post demonetization, BJP has actually scored. It is people like Mr. Danish Ali who have been forced to eat crow by the people of this country. So he must understand that people are ready. Yes, we are suffering, but we are ready to suffer.
But you can't expect. You can't expect. M.R. Venkatesh, Kuwar Danish Ali.
Sufferings of the Commonwealth, about the sufferings of the farmers.
Yes, that is why they are voting BJP. That is why they are not voting
the farmers.
Danish ji, आपको वोट नहीं कर रहे हैं.
You are talking about only
कोई वोट नहीं देने वाला है.
Yes, we know. You can go to any extent to win the election.
M.R. Venkatesh and Danish Ali. Let's come back to the 2 points that you have raised, sir, and let us ask Rajiv Kumar. I want to steer the debate back. Sir, I want to steer the debate back. Calm down, gentlemen. Calm down, gentlemen. Please calm down. 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 I'm going to go across to Rajiv Kumar. So Danish Ali, Kuwar Danish Ali. Two aspects that you raised. Let's ask. M.R. Venkatesh, please wait. M.R. Venkatesh, please wait. M.R. Venkatesh, please wait. Kuwar Danish Ali, please wait. Kuwar Danish Ali, please wait. Please wait. 2 points amidst your heated debate with M.R. Venkatesh. 2 things that you raised. Let's ask Rajiv Kumar on this. Rajiv Kumar, there is a real issue. Like you said, this Notbandi post-mortem. So the government has to also...
Let him make this as an election issue.
Sir, let me speak. M.R. Venkatesh, my question is to Rajiv Kumar, sir. My question is to Rajiv Kumar. Please. Rajiv Kumar. Yes. Zafar Islam, your rebuttal also. Please wait. Rajiv Kumar, the issue of farmers. See, we've seen the Kharif season. The Kharif season is over. The Rabi season sowing is over.
Real debate.
Now what we are having, Rajiv Desai, let me allow Rajiv Kumar. Let me allow Rajiv Kumar. You can have a discussion with him, sir. A real debate. Let's go to the real issues. We talked about the SMEs. We talked about the migrant population, the loss of jobs. So you said that it is about 2 quarters that these jobs will be affected. But 2 quarters is 6 months. 6 months. There will be a few lakh families in which there will not be jobs because of this Notbandi exercise. So it's tough on these families. What that could lead to, it's an impact that we've got to brace for. Is the government ready for it? Is the government considering that? Secondly, the farmers, sir. Farmers, very clearly, they are not getting price for their produce. They are selling their produce at throwaway prices, or they are just hoarding them because they can't sell it. The rural economy today, we are given to understand, is working on barter. Now, are these facts the government is owning up to?
Anand, can I make one first point? All that money that has gone into the bank is not black money converted to white. That's a fallacy, that's a myth, and one must understand that what we have done is actually to bring the money which was out there in the black economy, financing the black economy, now into the formal economy with a paper trail which, with the refer to the income tax department and the banking department, can be traced and will be traced over the years. Second point, when the chief statistician talked about the impact lasting over years, he said the impact, he did not say whether it's going to be negative or positive. I'm convinced, and this is why I've supported this, that it will be a positive impact. Third, on the farming sector, on the agricultural sector, it is not true to talk about a barter economy. Of course you will. There have always been informal networks, credit networks in the rural sector which have been working.
Rather than an economy.
Rabi sowing, you know, is Rabi sowing, you know, is up 6% because the agro inputs have been supplied to the farmers on credit as they've always been, and the Kharif harvesting, which is primarily sugarcane and rice, has also taken care of. The only people who have suffered, and they have suffered, are farmers who produce vegetables and perishable horticulture products. But as you know, this is a seasonal thing as well. Finally,
you know, this
there
is
are,
the point
of
that
course,
we're trying to make.
and I admitted that.
The negative fallout, the negative impact of demonetization must also be addressed by the government. As emphatically as the government is talking about the tax collection figures. And you know, I want to quickly ask you and then bring in Zafar Islam on this also. It was a point that was raised earlier by Prasanjit Bose, Rajiv Kumar. You know, he talked about the fact that India, having been an absolutely cash-intensive economy, if you take away 86% of the currency, there is going to be a negative fallout. People who have, you know, daily wage laborers, people like that will lose jobs because there is just no cash. These are real issues that have to be addressed, but the government, as the opposition alleges, is focusing on only the positive data, for example, the tax collection.
But you must also take into account the 31st December address by the Prime Minister, which he started off by thanking the people for having borne the pain.
What is the address?
From the very beginning, it has been clear that there will be pain in the economy.
His address was nothing.
He said nothing. Will you shut up for a while?
He promised that you would have a solution.
This is completely ill-mannered behavior on your part. Will you just shut up?
All right, gentlemen, let's
I was just going to say that from the very beginning, some pain has been expected. And that pain is being inflicted. The fact is that the Prime Minister had announced steps to boost aggregate demand and to take steps to revive the economy, because he knows that the jobs have been lost and they have to be brought back into the economy. And what I had maintained always, and which is what Subbarao also said, that the cleansing of the economy, the cleansing of the system, the folding in of the black economy into the formal economy has now created the environment in which investment can be taken on a sustained basis, and the cycles of boom and burst that we had been experiencing under the UPA regime, despite my former boss Dr. Manmohan Singh being in charge, will hopefully not be seen in the future. This is the first time ever in years that you've seen commercial banks bringing down their lending rates by 90 basis points.
Right.
May I speak?
So the point is therefore,
yes, Kumar, limited time, so allow Rajiv Desai rebuttal before Tina goes to Zafar Islam. Yes.
Let me speak.
Yeah. Okay, Rajiv Desai, very quickly, and then closing comments from Zafar Islam. Yeah, go ahead, please.
For all they can try, all they want to, this demonetization, for which there is absolutely no reason, has been a disaster. and now they're trying to spin their way out of it to bring in people now who says, where is the proof that the people are supporting the government on this issue? There are no riots. Just because there are no riots, it means people are supporting the government.
No, not just riots, sir. There are no protests out on the street, and largely the sentiment, the results in the civic polls, the larger sentiment on ground, it continues to be with the Prime Minister. Yes, people are suffering, sir, and we are not saying no. But Rajiv Desai, you're being a naysayer, but you're not arguing on facts. Counter on facts, Rajiv Desai, and let's not make it. Let's not make it. Rajiv Desai, limited time. So you made your point, Tina.
Yeah. Why they can make assertions
and also Rajiv Desai, you're talking about the fact that there haven't been riots, but as Anand pointed out, civic polls have pointed in the opposite direction, and let's not forget, we're less than a month away from very, very important elections. If the opposition wishes to see these as a referendum I'm saying now there are UP elections, the 5 states going to polls now within a month, and if the opposition wishes to think that these polls are going to be a referendum on the demonetization move, well, the answer is going to be out there very, very shortly for all of us. But Zafar Islam, I'll close with the larger point that Rajiv Desai was trying to make, and that is the question everybody asks. If all indicators are pointing out at a slowed down growth in GDP in the aftermath of demonetization, how can you tell your people that this move has been a boon?
See, first of all, we have repeatedly said two things, which everyone should understand. That there will be some dip, but very short period of time, maybe 2 quarters. No, but there will be recovery, and you will have exponential growth. There V-type recovery, because for 2 reasons. Government will provide fiscal support, government will provide monetary support. You will have consumption, because the GDP growth will come up, because consumption will get impacted during this period.
Where's the money?
Consumption will come back. Once the remonetization is complete, don't you know the remonetization number? Once RBI has also come out how much remonetization has been done. So you have some number, some statistic, Mr. Rajiv Desai. Don't behave like a completely ignorant economist. Okay? Let me just complete. And there will be sharp recovery. Once the sharp recovery is there, then you see lot more benefits. One stroke of pen, government of India has achieved, the Honorable Prime Minister has achieved many objectives they achieved. First, the government
to the government and to the opposition. To the government and to the opposition. The upcoming 5 state polls, sir, the upcoming 5 state polls are going to be around the time when the Rabi sowing comes to the rounds. It will be the time when the farmers will feel whether or not things are working for them on ground. It will be the time when the migrant worker population, the SMEs, and also the real impact of Notbandi will be felt on ground. That's when you're going to polls. So it's as good as a referendum for what you have done as your exercise. By then the budget will also have been announced. And we will see whether the government has its ears to its ground as it frames its policies and what the response is. We did a Notbandi postmortem because you had a very senior economist question the government's numbers. We are telling the government we're not questioning your numbers. We'd like you to put out both sides, the good and the bad, the positives and the negatives, and own up to the number of jobs that have been lost, the people who are without, and see what can be done about them. We've got to close this debate, but we'll continue to keep tabs on what is being put out by the government as far as this demonetization exercise is concerned, because it's high time the numbers from 8th of November till the 31st of December come to the fore and they are put out the real impact of Notbandi on the economy. Thank you very much for joining us on debate number 2.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.